Have you ever wondered why life's events often happen at the very moment we least expect them? Perhaps you have experienced loss, failure, a breakup, or even a sudden accident. In those moments, everything seems meaningless. Yet, when you look back years later, you realize that those very events open new doors, help you grow, and shaped you into the person you are today. Buddhism offers a very unique perspective on this. Instead of claiming that there is an invisible hand predetermining everything, Buddhism teaches that the universe operates according to causes and conditions, dependent origination. This means that everything happens because of specific causes and conditions. Nothing occurs purely by chance, yet nothing is bound by an unchangeable destiny either. All things are interconnected in a vast web of cause and effect. In other words, everything happens for a reason, but that reason does not come from a supreme being imposing it. It arises from actions, thoughts, and choices, our own and those of the world around us. The Buddha once taught, all conditioned phenomena are impermanent. This means that anything with form, anything that arises through conditions, will eventually change. We can see this clearly in nature. Spring comes and goes, flowers bloom and wither, people are born and eventually pass away. So why do we suffer? Because we want to hold on to things that cannot be held. We want happiness to last forever, love to remain eternal, careers to stay unchanged. But just like sand held in the palm of your hand, the tighter you squeeze, the faster it slips away. If we truly understand impermanence, we begin to see change through different eyes. Instead of resisting, we learn to accept and adapt. When one door closes, we can trust that another will open, not because fate has written it that way, but because the natural law of impermanence ensures that change is constant and inevitable. In Buddhism, karma is not punishment or reward handed down by a deity. It is simply the law of cause and effect. What you sow, you reap. If a seed is planted in the soil, watered, and given sunlight, it will sprout. If we sow seeds of anger and resentment, in time we will harvest suffering. On the other hand, if we plant seeds of love and compassion, we will eventually harvest peace. The important thing to remember is that cause and effect does not always show results immediately. Some seeds sprout within days, while others remain dormant for years before breaking through the soil. That is why sometimes we cannot see the outcome of our actions right away, but that does not mean the result has disappeared. Think about the people you meet in life. Some bring you peace, while others constantly bring tension. All of this is a result of habits, thoughts, and actions they have cultivated over time. And the same applies to us. We are also the outcome of what we ourselves have sown in the past. There's a famous Zen story about a farmer. One day, his horse ran away. The neighbors came to comfort him. "What bad luck?" The farmer simply replied, "Who knows if it's good or bad?" A few days later, the horse returned, bringing with it several wild horses. The neighbors exclaimed, "What good fortune?" The farmer once again said, "Who knows?" Later, the farmer's son tried to ride one of the wild horses, but fell and broke his leg. The neighbors lamented. "What a misfortune!" The farmer calmly replied, "Who knows?" Not long after, soldiers came to the village to conscript young men into the army. But because the farmer's son was injured, he was spared. The neighbors shouted, "How lucky!" The farmer only smiled. This story shows us that we are often too quick to label events as good or bad. But in the flow of causes and conditions, we cannot see the entire picture. What we call misfortune today may turn out to open new opportunities tomorrow. I remember a few years ago, I was desperately hoping to be accepted for a job at a well-known company. I prepared carefully and placed all my expectations on it. But in the end, I was rejected. At that time, I felt deeply disappointed, almost lost. Yet only a few months later, I received another opportunity, a job that suited my passions and values far more. Looking back, I realized that if I had been accepted into the job I once wanted, I might have been stuck on a path that wasn't truly mine. That rejection turned out to be a setup that guided me toward the right direction. This is exactly how cause and effect, along with impermanence, work together. We cannot control circumstances, but we can always control our attitude and the choices we make within them. One of the main reasons we suffer is attachment. We cling tightly to what we like and push away what we dislike. When we gain something we desire, we live in fear of losing it. When we encounter what we don't want, we resist with all our strength. In both cases, suffering arises. Imagine someone who cannot let go of a past relationship. Every memory feels like a knife in the heart. But if we look deeper, that love may have already fulfilled its purpose. It taught lessons about intimacy, patience, and self-awareness. Yet, by clinging to the ghost of what once was, the person shuts themselves off from the possibility of new love. Attachment is like holding a burning coal in our hands, hoping it will warm us. In reality, it only burns. True peace comes when we learn to let go. People often fear that letting go means becoming cold or detached. But in Buddhism, letting go does not mean ceasing to love. It means loving without chains, caring without control. Take the example of parents and children. All parents love their children, but when that love becomes possessive, when parents demand their children succeed in a very specific way, it creates tension and pain. If, instead, parents can release attachment, they can love their children with freedom, supporting them without smothering them. That is wise love. Letting go is like holding a bird gently in your hand. If you squeeze too tightly, you harm it. If you open your hand completely, it may fly away. But if you cradle it lightly, it feels safe. And even if it does fly away one day, you will smile because you were blessed to share time with it. In modern life, we often tie our identity to career and success. A promotion brings us joy, but then we live in fear of losing our position. A failure feels like the end of the world, even though it's just another turn on the path. Buddhism teaches that work is a condition, a temporary circumstance that helps us sustain life and serve society. Success and failure do not define who we are. What truly matters is whether we approach our work with mindfulness, integrity, and compassion. There are people who have lost their jobs only to discover a more fulfilling path. Others have failed in business, but gone on to inspire thousands through their hard-earned wisdom. What looked like an ending was really a new beginning. Everything happens for a reason, but sometimes the reason only reveals itself as we keep walking. Love is one of the most beautiful and yet painful parts of human life. We often believe we need someone else to complete us, but no person can carry the full responsibility for our happiness. Relationships come and go, leaving behind joy or sorrow. But if we look closely, every person who enters our life has a role. Some arrive to teach us how to love, others to teach us how to let go, and some to show us the wounds we still need to heal. Buddhism emphasizes that true love rests on compassion and wisdom, loving without trying to possess, caring without trying to control. When we understand this, even the end of a relationship is not meaningless. It has already shaped us into someone deeper and more mature. Loss is unavoidable. We lose loved ones, possessions, even our health. Grief is natural, but how we respond to it shapes our journey. I once heard a woman share about the passing of her father. At first, she was broken, unable to accept it. But over time, she shifted her perspective. Instead of focusing on his absence, she practiced gratitude for the years they shared, for the lessons he gave, for the love that continued to live within her. That gratitude transformed her grief into peace. Loss is not the end of life. It is a reminder to cherish each present moment. Because everything is impermanent, every second we spend with those we love becomes infinitely precious. Mindfulness is the art of living fully in the present. When our mind dwells in the past, we drown in regret. When it races toward the future, we drown in fear. Only in the present do we truly live. Think of a simple cup of tea. If your mind is filled with tomorrow's worries, you will gulp it down without noticing. But if you bring full awareness, feeling the warmth of the cup in your hands, the fragrance rising with the steam, the gentle sweetness on your tongue, then that moment becomes sacred. Mindfulness is also a key when facing hardship. Instead of reacting in anger, fear, or panic, mindfulness gives us a pause. It allows us to see clearly and choose a wise response rather than a blind reaction. In Buddhism, suffering is not an enemy. It is a teacher. Pain teaches patience, empathy, and compassion. Without struggle, we would never develop resilience or depth. Think of a butterfly struggling to break free from its cocoon. If someone cuts it open to make the process easier, the butterfly's wings will not grow strong enough to fly. It is the very struggle that makes flight possible. Our lives are the same. The breakups, the illnesses, the disappointments, they hurt, yes, but they also shape us. They strip away illusions and reveal truths we might never have discovered otherwise. One of Buddhism's most profound teachings is dependent origination. Everything arises through conditions. Nothing exists on its own. A flower cannot bloom by itself. It needs soil, water, sunlight, air, and even the gardener's hand. In the same way, every moment of our life is a result of countless conditions. Even you listening to this video right now is not random. It is the product of all your past choices and mine out of billions of possibilities. Our paths crossed here. That is interconnection in action. When we understand this, gratitude naturally grows. We see that nothing is truly separate and that every relationship, however brief, is a gift. In today's fast-paced world, we are constantly chasing after work, money, relationships, and endless responsibilities. It often feels like happiness is always somewhere outside of us, waiting to be found. Yet the more we chase, the more exhausted we become. Have you ever stopped to wonder, where does true happiness really lie? Buddhism teaches that peace is not something we need to seek outside. It is already within us, like a hidden treasure waiting to be uncovered. Just as a calm lake reflects the sky with perfect clarity, when our mind is still, we see the pure nature that has always been there. Practicing mindfulness and meditation is the path back to that stillness. Even just a few minutes of sitting quietly, breathing deeply, and observing the mind can reveal something profound. Behind all the noise of thoughts, there's a vast space of calm that never disappears. That is our true home, a place. Imagine this. On a busy day, you set aside only 10 minutes to sit in silence, relax your body, and focus on your breath. At first, your mind may race in every direction, but gradually, the sense of calm spreads through you. When you rise again, you feel lighter, less stressed, able to see life with clearer eyes. When we learn to turn inward, we realize that happiness does not depend solely on circumstances. It arises from our attitude and the peace of our mind. And once that peace is established, we can face difficulties, challenges, even great losses, while remaining steady and unshaken. One of the most powerful teachings of Buddhism is compassion. True compassion is not pity, nor is it an obligation. It is the natural response of an awakened heart when it sees the suffering of others. Imagine holding a candle. When you use it to light another, your flame does not diminish. In the same way, when we extend compassion, our own heart grows brighter. Compassion also transforms the way we see people. Instead of labeling someone as good or bad, we begin to ask, what pain has shaped them? What experiences have led them to act in such ways? With this perspective, judgment softens and understanding takes its place. We often believe that if we work hard enough, plan carefully enough, we can control every outcome in life. Yet time and again, life proves otherwise. Plans fall apart. Unexpected events happen, people change. This realization is not meant to discourage us, but to free us. When we let go of the illusion of control, we stop fighting against life. Instead, we flow with it, like water finding its way around rocks. This doesn't mean giving up effort. It means putting in our best, but releasing the attachment to results. In that letting go, we find freedom. We're grateful you joined us on this journey into Buddhist wisdom. May these insights guide you toward deeper understanding, resilience in the face of change, and the quiet strength of inner peace.